Chapter 424. You look quite weary. Would you like some wine? Baron Wilhelm eyed the glass that Kishir offered and shook his head. His throat was parched, but it was more important to glean more information about the situation. That will be fine, but tell me, Duke, why am I imprisoned here? I should be the one asking, why were you here last night with the intruders when you should have been at the charity party? Kishir inquired, tilting his head. Is it so strange for me, who manages Dano, to be with the security management team? I only came here for urgent matters and happened to run into them. Urgent matters, you say? Kishir repeated Baron Wilhelm's words. Is it related to the others that you supposedly rescued from the prison with your servant? I have heard that they were imprisoned there for a long time without any charges. The question referred to the horses he had kept to sell as slaves. They were ones he would never have had to concern himself with had he managed to pass them on to the southern merchant properly. Is that why he imprisoned me? Baron Wilhelm swallowed his dry saliva and used the excuse he had thought of while confined. You're not saying that you believe those prisoners over me, who served His Highness the Duke and cavalry with all my sincerity? They are criminals who try to sneak into the empire from other countries. I didn't bring them out. They joined hands with the intruders to attempt escape. I almost died at their hands last night. How could one be thrown into prison without proper verification of facts from both sides? If this were known, the honor of the cavalry would vanish like bubbles, and the Baron, spitting in his demand to clarify the responsibility, finally caught his breath. Having listened to the Baron's words, Kishir asked as if to confirm. So, you mean that you came here alone during the party without notifying the Tenno Knights and the cavalry for urgent matters that have nothing to do with those claiming to have been imprisoned here or the intruders? Yes. So, it was merely a coincidence that they attempted escape from the prison just when you were here and the intruders came to help them? By now, one would have expected him to show signs of being shaken, but the smiling face of Duke Paleta, continually asking as if confirming something, did not change at all. Baron Wilhelm felt an inexplicable sense of foreboding creeping up his nape at the Duke's excessive composure. What exactly was this urgent matter that you were so concerned about? That is an internal secret of Tenno. I cannot disclose it without the Duke of Tenno's permission. Even if I say that I think I know the answer? Baron Wilhelm opened his mouth, intending to assert that the ambiguous question shouldn't confuse him. If Kishir hadn't started casually flipping through a stack of documents nearby, he would have been able to say no. What's that? Seeing the writing on the front of the document, Baron Wilhelm turned pale and stopped speaking with his mouth agape. If he hadn't mistaken, it was undoubtedly the list prepared for the auction house. He couldn't fail to recognize it since he had personally checked and approved it. But how had the list fallen into the hands of Duke Paleta? How? Since when? Kishir's eyes gently flickered open, seemingly feeling the blood-red gaze of Baron Wilhelm, who shuddered momentarily at the thought of the nobles of the Apito family carried unconscious into the dungeon. Right after you were captured here last night, there was an uproar involving intruders at the party hall and even in some of the old mansions nearby, he said. My loyal officers who rushed there to maintain the peace of Tenno witnessed some astonishing events. Prominent people from the west had gathered, innumerable in number, waiting for an illegal auction to defy the emperor's law. Can you believe it? Invaders at the party hall too? Are my family safe? What about the guests? Some unfortunately met their fate at the hands of the invaders, but luckily, your wife and daughters are safe. However, that's not important. Not important? Desperately trying to change the subject, but to no avail, Kishir unfolded the bundle of papers in his hand again. I believe you came here last night for a reason closely related to what's written in these documents. If my speculation is wrong, please correct me. Baron Wilhelm was unable to respond for a long time. Even his normally smooth cunning wouldn't cooperate at this moment. His head was spinning and he felt a pounding headache. He just wanted to sit down, but there was no chair for him to sit on. Unfamiliar with the situation where he had only himself to rely on, Baron Wilhelm was at loss. I must absolutely deny it. That was the only thought in his mind. Regardless of how much Duke Paleta knew, he had to keep it unrelated to Tain. Even if he failed in this task, the moment it was connected to Duke Tain, his life would be over. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what's written in those documents, let alone an auction. Everyone present there mentioned your name. Still, you don't know? I know nothing about it. This list details the names of those who prepared the auction. Your name isn't there, but the name and approval seal of the Red Deer Consortium connected to you is stamped right at the top. Will you continue to claim ignorance? The merchant group's matter is something Graham took care of. I genuinely don't know much about it. If there is a problem with the merchant group, shouldn't you arrest Graham first? Only then did Duke Paleta's expression change slightly. Come to think of it, he had mentioned that Baron Wilhelm's wife and daughters were safe, but hadn't said anything about Graham Wilhelm, who had been weak-minded after almost being kidnapped by the Awakeners and was staying at the Baron's mansion. What had happened to him, entangled in all of this? He might be dead. Even if he wasn't, he was the only blood relative who worked closely with Baron Wilhelm and had deep connections to the Red Deer Consortium. The moment he thought that, Baron Wilhelm's mind sparked like lightning with the realization that his younger brother Graham was the best person to pass the blame on to. The Baron's eyes, damp with sweat, sparkled. I took him in without question, thinking him unfortunate after suffering from the incident. But now that I think about it, it seemed like he was doing something secretive even from me lately. After insisting for a while that it was all to prepare for an illegal auction behind his brother's back, Baron Wilhelm fired off his final words. I have never worked once for personal greed. If I had known that such a wicked act was happening in Tenno, I would have eradicated it already. If not for myself, then for His Grace, the Duke of Tain, who entrusted me with this place's affairs. It was clear that someone had schemed all of this to happen precisely when he had hurriedly stepped in to take care of matters. And it was clear that his younger brother, Graham Wilhelm, was involved in this plot. The claims fit together all too well. What's more, the truth is the truth. I only worked for the Duke of Tain and not for myself. So, how could anyone lay blame on me? Though he felt a little sorry for his younger brother, the lives of himself and the Duke of Tain were the first things that needed to be considered. As it was a matter of business, if his younger brother were to take responsibility and claim the blame, the Duke of Tain would surely not ignore him. For everyone's sake, that was the best course. If you permit me, I will interrogate Graham myself and reveal the truth. That traitor who betrayed His Grace, the Duke of Tain. Is that so? What do you think? Baron Wilhelm paused at Kishir's question, which came just as he was in full flow. The door then opened, and there, being escorted by the soldiers, was his younger brother, Graham Wilhelm, the very one he was trying to pin the blame on. The Baron swallowed his breath, noticing his brother's swollen, glaring eyes fixed on him. A choked mutter escaped him. Graham? Along with the others at the auction house, your brother stood there at dawn, testifying that all of this happened because of your orders. I'm curious who's lying here, said Cashier. The Baron's tongue seemed to have frozen in place. The Graham who had been taken from his residence the previous night by the cavalry and brought to a remote house after receiving the exceptional healing power of Priest Lusan, he had somewhat regained his senses. The brothers, who now knew what had happened, had decided mirror-like to pin the blame on each other. Kishir looked at the stony-faced brothers, whose faces were so alike, and sent them a friendly smile. It seems difficult to proceed with the investigation like this. I will give you some time, so discuss it well between you. From the prison indeed, Duke Paleta smiled, and at the same time the soldiers grabbed the arms of the two men. Baron Wilhelm screamed, his head lowered. Don't think, His Grace, the Duke of Tain will overlook this absurdity. Yes, I am also looking forward to the Duke of Tain's reaction when he hears the news. Kishir answered calmly, smiling.